So you're both Occupy and the Keystone protester.
Yeah.
It's like 2 in 1.
Well, it's not mutually exclusive, you know.
Okay, and why are you protesting, I wonder?
Well, because Obama wants to approve this Keystone XL pipeline. It's this massive pipeline that stretches all the way from Canada all the way down to Texas. And basically, if it's Marcellus shale gas that's coming from, and it has a higher content of CO2 emissions. So if this gas pipeline happens, then it's going to accelerate climate change real fast. It's going to cause earthquakes, it's going to cause gas leaks everywhere. It's basically going to destroy the planet. So,
really?
Yeah.
Because of one single pipeline is going to destroy the planet? You really believe it?
I mean, climate change will destroy the planet. I mean, that's a fact.
Really?
Yeah, 98% of all scientists agree that climate change is happening right now, and if you don't do anything to stop it, then we're in trouble.
In a way, I agree with you because climate does change. We call it weather. You know what happened 10,000 years ago?
Yeah, I know that.
You know what happened?
Yeah.
Same exact spot where we are now, right?
Yeah, but that does not mean climate change is there's a difference between the climate change that's happening now and then the climate change that was happening then.
In the past.
Yes.
And what's the difference?
I mean,
we humans, you think?
Well, I mean, we definitely had something to do with it. I mean, after
I'm being a skeptic. It's just I want you to convince me. It's like why should? Because I mean, from a common sense perspective, Canada is our friend. Canada, you know how much oil we get from Canada out of 100% oil that we get? Do you know how much percent? I mean, take a guess. Canada versus Saudi Arabia versus Mexico, Venezuela and stuff.
Well, I guess 30%?
About 20%. 20 or so. And Canada is our friend, right? So I'd rather get the oil from Canada than from Saudi Arabia. And you will agree with me that we need oil, right?
Well, to a limited extent. I mean, at a certain point, we need to move on. I mean, oil is not, unlimited. It's going to,
that's true.
And if we don't start...
That's true.
You shouldn't talk to this guy. He's an online troll. He's just going to post this on his website that 10 people look at every month.
No, I know. It's the socialist guy.
No, he's not.
The Occupy protest.
He's He's not a socialist.
No, I remember him from the video, yeah.
Right, okay. Oh, you're a socialist, really?
I am a socialist.
Oh.
He has a website. 10 people look at it. Just don't talk to him. He's going to edit your video. He's an online troll.
I'll give you the link. You'll see there will be no cuts. How about that? Do you want to talk to me?
Well,
are you afraid to talk to me? Oh, good. So you don't mind talking to me, right?
No, I don't mind talking.
I mean, this is America, troll. I came from Russia. So in Russia, all these protests would have been impossible. Period. Full stop. Okay. So in America, you have an opinion. I have an opinion. Why? I mean, why would you be afraid to talk to me? I mean, what? But see, if you come to me and I do participate in some protests or whatever you call it. If you come to me and ask me questions, I'll be more than happy to convince you. Maybe I will be able to convince you. Maybe you'll switch sides. Maybe you'll come to my side, assuming that we're on different sides, right? But we're on the same side. We're on the same planet. I mean, we as humans should come to a certain consensus, right? After all, what you're protesting is something that, according to you, affects everybody, the whole planet, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we can discuss that because it affects you, it affects me, it affects every human being. Well, animals too, right? Love animals.
Oh yeah, everything. The whole planet.
Okay, so my point is that 10,000 years ago there was ice shield, a mile high. It melted, right? Well, why did it melt?
What?
Well, why did it melt?
It didn't melt. Well, I mean, at that time, the volcanoes and fuel emissions coming from there, and the Earth at that time was not fully developed like it is now.
How old is Earth? How old is Earth, you think?
The Earth is a couple billion years old.
About 4.6 or so. 4.5 billion roughly. And 10,000 years is like nothing.
Oh, absolutely.
On this scale. 4.6 or 4.5 billion versus 10,000 years is nothing. You know that in the past, speaking of continents, why Africa and South America, they mesh so tightly? It's because they were Pangea, they were small continent. So the point that I'm trying to make is that climate has been changing, regardless. I mean, can you stop even a single volcano? Is it in our human power?
Well, we can't stop volcanoes, but we can certainly stop polluting the planet, you know, with...
Polluting, I'm against pollution. I'm absolutely 100% against pollution. But guess what? CO2, in my mind, is not a polluting gas. The reason it's not a polluting gas, I'm sure we all studied it at school. Photosynthesis, remember?
Oh yeah, I mean, plants produce CO2, but we are overproducing CO2.
No, plants do not produce CO2, just the opposite. They consume CO2. Remember photosynthesis?
Oh, yeah.
They take CO2 and they emit what?
Oxygen.
Exactly. The gas that we what?
Yeah.
Breathe.
Absolutely, absolutely.
See, we found consensus. That guy says, don't talk to him.
Oh, yeah,
so we can find common physical attributes that we all should know before we even go to any protest, right?
Yeah.
So if we eliminate all the CO2 out of the atmosphere, what's going to happen to the jungle, for instance?
What?
To the jungle. If we remove all CO2 from the atmosphere, what's going to happen to the jungle, to the trees?
Well, I mean, that's, we don't want to remove all the CO2 in the air. We just want to stop industrial pollution, from producing more CO2 than actually needed.
Do you know how much CO2 there is in the air that we breathe?
No.
I mean, again, you're protesting. It's just school knowledge, like basic stuff. I mean, the air. I mean, we're standing over here. We're surrounded by air, but by the atmosphere, right? So oxygen, do you know how much oxygen is there in the atmosphere? About 22, 23%, right? The rest is mostly nitrogen. I'm sure you remember that, right?
Yeah.
Guess how much CO2 in general in the atmosphere there is out there? As a percentage, out of 100%, how much CO2?
50%?
50. You will die instantly from 50% of CO2. Okay. Guess what? You will die even if there is just 1% of CO2. There's only 0.03 or 4%. Now, when we talk, your protest or this protest is 350.org. You know why it's 350.org, right?
No, what is it?
I mean, you're protesting. It's your organization. It's the umbrella. Come on, man.
I'm not much of an environmentalist.
Oh,
I
okay.
work with other issues mostly.
Oh, I see. So 350 is 350 parts per million, which translates into 0.0035.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, percentage-wise. Okay. Now, they think that this is sort of the maximum amount allowed in the atmosphere for allegedly Earth, not warming up. So now it's approaching like 400 parts per million.
Yeah.
Okay, but the funny thing is that for the past 15 years, I mean, it was about 300 parts per million about 15, 20 years ago. It's 400 now. It's true. The amount of emissions has increased some 30%, right?
Yeah.
But guess what? Temperature hasn't changed in 15 years. Did you know that?
Oh, okay.
The temperature hasn't changed.
Yeah.
See, I'm switching on my side.
Well, I mean,
little by little.
I don't think you'll get me to deny that, climate change is an issue. But, I mean, it's either you go with the skeptics who are on the side of the big oil companies who have to profit from it, or you have to go with the scientific consensus with generally 99.6% of the scientists agree that climate change is happening. And
my name is Vladimir. What's your name?
Carlos.
Pleasure. Okay, listen, Carlos. Forget about the talking point. How about if we have just common sense, a little bit of data? I mean, I just gave you all this data. It's indisputable. Everyone, speaking of 99% of scientists agreeing on that. I mean, here's an example. I mean, the temperature hasn't budged in 15 years, and yet the amount of CO2 has increased by 30%. So maybe there isn't that much of a correlation between the amount of CO2 and the temperature. I mean, again, common sense. At least you might question.
Are you saying we should keep extracting fossil fuels and polluting the earth and not try to go to renewables in the future and work towards that goal?
I am 100% for renewables. You know what's the best source of energy?
What is it?
It's right there. If you look up, we just can't contain it yet.
Oh yeah.
Okay, it's called fusion. That's what's happening in the sun.
Yeah.
Okay, we're experimenting with it. I mean, we just can't produce it. Then the solar panels. And speaking of solar panels, you know the funny thing about solar panels, when people say, "Oh, it's kind of non-polluting and stuff like that." You know what solar panels are made out of? Rare earth metals. Where do you get rare earth metals? From China. 95-97% of rare earth metals are manufactured in China at this point. Rare earth means, by definition, they are rare. So to get those rare earth metals, you have to process a lot of earth, right? To extract just a few tiny bits of those rare earth metals.
Yeah.
So on the one hand, you say, okay, let's use solar panels. But on the other hand, to produce solar panels, I mean, you have to dig into earth.
Yeah.
Right, and to dig, you have to use excavators, huge trucks, which will pollute anyway. So the circle is complete now. Again, I'm not against renewables. They just cannot compete with the fossil fuels at this point. And you know what's funny also? You're holding this flag, for instance. What is this flag made out of?
Fabric.
Fabric. What fabric is that? Well, it's not natural, is it?
Oh, no.
It's synthetic, right?
Yeah.
And to get synthetic fabric, where did you get it from? Oil. Oil.
I mean, I'm not.
So it's not just burning. I mean, all the plastics. I mean, I see this button. What's this button made out of besides metal? The paint.
Yeah. Paint. Plastic.
Oil. Oil. Your glasses. What are your glasses made out of?
Oil.
Oil.
I understand that. So the idea that we can't begin to shift from fossil fuels to renewables is, you know, it's ridiculous. I mean, we give billions of dollars in subsidies.
No, we don't.
We do.
No, we don't.
We do.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
We do.
No, we don't.
We give billions of dollars to Exxon, to BP.
No. Let me explain.
So go ahead.
See, the funny thing is that when you talk about the oil-producing companies, the first thing that comes to mind are huge companies. In fact, Exxon is the largest company on Earth. I mean, between Apple, Exxon, depending on the stock. So, but we keep forgetting there are a lot of small businesses that drill for oil. Do you know that small businesses? You have a pot of oil. You put the little rig over there. You're the oil producer. You don't have to be a huge company to produce oil. You just get a rig, 1, 2, 3, 10 rigs, and you drill for oil.
No, you're oversimplifying. It's not that easy. And those companies will eat up those other smaller businesses.
No, they don't.
They do.
Go to Texas. You'll see on private lots.
Man, that's capitalism.
I love capitalism, of course, but this is your. I'm sure you love capitalism too, right?
No.
You don't love capitalism?
No, sorry.
Really?
I'm anti-capitalist.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Are you serious? You're anti-capitalist?
Do you know what capitalism is?